further ado, I'm going to start the recording on this call. And yeah, let's open up the floor and see if anybody has some questions to start us off with for tonight. I just remembered, the other thing I was going to say for anyone new on the call is you don't necessarily have to ask a question. Like if you don't have anything in mind, it's kind of juicy to sit in and listen to other people's questions because they might be a little bit further ahead and they might have been thinking of stuff that you haven't thought of yet. So that's totally cool too.
Yeah, I'm going to, I guess Lisa's trying to figure out how to get in, so I'm just going to help her right now.
Perfect. So I'll just mute you if that's okay, or you already did. That's perfect. Excellent. Okay, who wants to start us off with either a question or wanting to share something that's new for them this week? We're having a Bueller moment.
I'll comment. I'll just
Yes.
I don't usually talk much, but I'll talk. So where am I now? I am on this was day 26. And I think that is without the 3-day fasting. So I'm down 18 pounds.
Wow.
I was thinking it would be a little bit more, but of course I talk to Shannon about this stuff all the time, and she does the math, and she makes me feel better every day, which is good. But what I think I noticed the most is, like, never mind the weight. I'm wearing clothes 2 sizes smaller. I haven't measured yet, but I'm probably going to do that this weekend and just see where I'm at with that. But my clothes, I feel so much better I have so much clothes that were packed away that, I've progressively grown out of. So I do have clothes to unpack and put back on. And so I've been doing that, and it feels really good to be in clothes where my muffin top isn't showing anymore, and my stomach's gone down a lot, which just blows my mind. So it feels good. I know it's not just losing weight. I mean, I've done weight loss before, and I didn't lose in my midsection like this. So it's pretty amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, because you're so welcome. I was going to say that was one of your goals, right, Lorraine? You wanted to target the tummy area.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Shannon was telling me you were getting like an average of 0.7 pounds lost per day. So that's pretty phenomenal. That's really, really good. And the fact is, like, when else have you seen that kind of speed of weight loss, or have you seen that speed before?
Not since my 20s. And it wasn't done properly, that's for sure. So, yeah.
Right. Well, that's phenomenal. So you're down 2 dress. Excuse me. I think I'm catching my boyfriend's cold. You said you're down 2 dress sizes, and you don't have a muffin top anymore, and your tummy is flattening out. That's really, really great.
It is great.
So good. And I have to say, Lorraine, just from seeing your face from, like, maybe it was 2 weeks ago or so, even until now, you have this glow about you. You look different.
Well, thank you.
I'm so happy for you. And I'm so happy. And it's congrats to you, really. Like, this is your hard work really paying off.
It is hard work. It's gotten easier as far as hunger goes. I'm fine with that now. I don't feel hungry anymore. The only thing is I am a traditional Italian, so I do mentally find myself missing some foods, but I'm so not hungry for them. So
yeah,
knowing that is important.
So good. And we'll be adding those back in too, right? So it's never like a lifelong,
right.
Luckily you don't have to avoid those forever, just for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Excellent. That's so great. And I love that you've identified like the difference between, are you feeling physically hungry versus is it more of like a missing for food? So that's so good.
Yeah.
Well, huge kudos to you, Lorraine. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
So that's such a great share to start off our evening, everybody. So Lorraine was just sharing her wicked results she's been getting. I want to say we've got a few more people on the line whose numbers I don't recognize. I apologize. 4302, I feel like I've seen that one before. Who is that? Phone number ending in 4302.
That's me. It's Alan.
That's Alan. Okay, that's where I knew that from. So welcome to the call, Alan.
Thank you.
I want to also welcome Talia to the call, and we've got 9021, phone number ending in 9021.
That's me, Lisa.
Is that Lisa? Awesome. Welcome to the call, Lisa.
Hi. Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. We have a drop-in call session here too for you guys, just so you know. You don't necessarily have to come for the whole hour. You can drop in and ask a question too. So Lisa, I was kind of giving some background info at the start of the call, just so that you know for future calls too. With these, you can come on, you can share wins, you can share challenges, you can share just like something cool that you experienced throughout the week linked to your health. You can even share questions if you want to have those answered. And then a lot of people too will just come on the call to listen in and sort of absorb the information of people that are asking questions they might not have thought of. So we'll get a lot of people like that on the call too.
Okay.
You can speak via the phone, and then if you're ever on the computer, you can also ask questions through the chat box. So that's open to you as well.
Okay.
Cool. Great. Well, we've got a nice meaty call here today. We've got a lot of people on the line. So we start off with Lorraine's awesome shares, and she's lost 18 pounds, which is fantastic. Is there anybody else that wants to share either a win this week or something they're going through or a question they have?
Yeah, even though I'm on, can you hear me? Because we're not using the earbuds.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's not, is it too noisy? Like,
No.
No? Okay. Oh, and I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So even though I'm on maintenance and my weight is like staying where I want it to, I noticed my size 8 jeans that I just bought are now getting baggy. So even though the scale is the same, there's still some inches going down. So it's kind of weird. It's because I'm not working out, so it doesn't make sense to me, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing the body contouring bit, like because you're saying your scale size isn't changing, but your inches are going down. I don't know, that might be your water shifting compartment, but either which way, that's a good sign, right? Like we do want to see inches come down. So that's awesome.
Well, maybe it's shifting from my belly to my bum, which is pretty good. I'd like that.
Yeah, a lot of people would like it to shift from like belly to boobs or bum.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
When Chris, for those of you that can't see,
Guys, I'm checking her out.
Chris is here with Shannon in the same window, so we can see both of them. Would you be okay with that, Chris? Is that why you're checking her out?
Well, I'm like wondering if it is going to her ass. Because it shrank.
It shrank, right?
So ask your question.
I got a question, Erica.
Yeah, please.
Lately I've been noticing my extremities seem to get colder easier. Like my fingers and my toes. Has anyone else experienced that you know of?
Yeah,
Hi, it's Alan. I've been a lot colder, to be honest, with just in general overall.
I did notice overall I'm a bit cold, a bit colder, and I usually wear a sweater or something too. But my extremities, my feet last night, if they get it all damp, then they're freezing cold, which is odd. Not that I'm complaining.
I've had the same thing, and I'm sleeping with ankle socks on for the past 5-6 days, and my fingers. I'm usually a very warm guy, and my hands are usually really warm, and my hands have been colder than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really common finding we see, because when you're cutting back on your food calories and instead you're subsisting off of fat calories, you're not digesting those fat calories because they're already like what you would call pre-digested as they go into the bloodstream. So a large chunk of your body heat is actually produced through the process of digestion. It's about 30% of your body heat will come from that.
Okay.
So because you're not digesting as much food calories and you're just breaking down body fat for fuel, you're going to have less warmth for sure. So that's really transient. So as you start to pick up your activity levels again, and as you got that point with your weight loss where, you don't want to lose as much anymore, you're good where you're at, and you start to up the calories again, that's when you'll start to see your hands get warm, your feet get warm. Overall, what we tend to see, Chris, is that people's metabolism then does a nice, it's really good when you come off, but then it does a nice spike when you add exercise back in. So you should feel quite warm once you start getting back into the gym and working out and doing that sort of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Keep yourself warm, try to avoid contact with your bare feet with cold floors, because it can cause the capillaries to get sort of contracted for, they'll tend to go to that state for almost 12 hours or more. So then you feel very, very cold. That's kind of like a Raynaud phenomenon.
Okay.
So try to avoid direct cold contact on the skin at this time, but that'll pass quick enough.
Okay.
Yeah. And I see you've got Patty there with you, hey?
Hi.
This is so funny. For anybody that's on the phone, we have our webcams on. So you can see Shannon, her mom Patty, and Chris are all in the same little pane. So funny. That's excellent. So Chris, you should heat up, and Alan too. You should notice that you'll heat up as soon as you start upping the calories and the exercise. Well, for you, Alan, I know you already do a lot of exercise, so it'll be more so calories for you.
What you mean? We can
actually. I reduced my exercise a little bit on boot camp because I was almost passing out after an hour. So I'm
too intense.
I'm still doing it, but I'm doing half as much just to get through this next couple of weeks.
Yeah. And so the countdown is on for you, right? In terms of when you can start adding some new foods back in and upping your calories.
Yeah, I start washout on Thursday before Easter weekend, I think.
That's right. Okay, good timing.
Not that I'm counting.
I see Lorraine's husband with a Ghostbuster shirt and hi, Lorraine's husband. Yeah, I know, right, Alan? Not like I'm counting or anything.
Yeah, no, I'm totally counting, but I feel good. The first 3-4 days I was just up and down and felt like I was in a different place, like I'd just been on a plane for 12 hours and gone into a different time zone, but I feel a lot better. And the issue for me is always making sure I eat right around the same hour of the day. When I feel hungry, it seems to happen within an hour or two. And if I let it go a little longer, that's when I start fading. And sometimes I start doing something and I forget, but then I quickly remember that I forgot. So
forgot to eat, yeah.
Yeah. So I get all of a sudden it all catches up to me in one, it all of a sudden accelerates within a half an hour. I go, whoa. And then I look at my watch and I go, I should have eaten an hour ago,
Yeah. Yeah, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks sometimes, especially, if you've been kind of fasting for a few hours in the morning. It'll be like, okay, I need to get some fuel in me now.
Yeah, totally. But it feels good. I feel fine. I feel good and I feel fine, and my energy levels are good, and I think I've lost 11 pounds in, I don't know, 13 days or something. And I feel good. I feel like it's a lot easier after the 4 or 5 days. And I'm not jealous of people drinking wine in front of me like I was the first 4 or 5 days. And my mind has taken over me in the right way, so that's a good thing.
Good. That's really good. So it's getting easier and easier for you to eat this sort of whole food, low alcohol free kind of lifestyle right now.
Yeah, and it's kind of a clearing thing at the same time. You feel really good. I ate organic tomatoes tonight, and I'm tasting stuff that I don't normally eat except for in season. I'm experimenting with the kind of stuff that I don't always eat, and I've discovered my love for raw cabbage, and I eat it when I peel the layers off. Oh yeah, it's fantastic, and everybody thinks I'm crazy in the house, but I love it, and I love the flavors of things that are raw are really tasting better all the time because I'm not adding stuff to it all the time. I'm trying to eat it as close to raw as possible, and sometimes putting the Bragg vinegar stuff on it, and I'm not adding salt. So it's really cool.
It sounds like you're opening your palate back up to be able to detect these natural flavors.
It is. It's exactly what it is. And my mother's closest friend, she's been an advocate of the power of raw for 20 years, and she's a nutritionist, and she kept talking about it, and we kept sort of going whatever, and now I'm actually doing more of it, and I actually am tasting stuff differently, and it's nice.
I find it's a really good reset button. It's like you can finally get turned on to natural flavors again. And I found for me, it was like I didn't need the sort of hyper flavoring of, the foods you could get at the store kind of thing. It was like I was okay again with the real taste of asparagus or celery, and I didn't have to do too much to it. Are you finding that's a similar experience?
It's totally a similar experience, and I think the difficult part for me will be re-entry into the normal, or the new normal, with my family who is still eating their food, so to speak, and I'm kind of eating my food, and I'm trying to get the family converted over to paleo. So that is slowly happening, and there's been lots of arguments, to be honest, and I'm just sort of, okay, let's just try replacing that, and we'll go slow, and I'm ready to go switch over everything all at once, but I also have to be sensitive. If I'm going to get buy-in, then I have to do it at a certain pace.
I liked that. I saw Shannon's feedback to you on that was sort of just replacing things like one at a time as opposed to a full overhaul for the family, because it might be kind of shocking.
Yeah, and that book that was recommended, Practical Paleo, the second edition, it's a fantastic book. I've been reading it, going through it, and then I'm surprised by the next part that I read, and the next part that I read, and it covers so many bases, and it's catering to people with different ailments, conditions, or desires. And it has these cool recipes, and I've never been a cooking kind of guy, but I'm going to start doing it just because I'm into it, and I want to lead my part of the family into it. But that book it tells you the do's and don'ts, the things people should consider, how to introduce it into your family, and the obstacles you're going to realize, how to substitute certain foods, which ones make sense, which ones don't, and then the myths around different things that people think and all that stuff. So it's good. Nice. It's
such a good book. So Alan's referring to a book Shannon recommended to him called Practical Paleo. And it's a really good sort of lifelong nutrition read. And you know what? It might be cool too, Alan, is if you cook some paleo meals for them from recipes from that book, but don't even say that they're paleo. I know what I would do when I lived with my parents was like, I'll make steak dinner with vegetables, and it's totally paleo, but I wouldn't say anything because if I said something, my dad would start like, oh. But stuff like that, or like making eggs with veggies. Sorry, go ahead. I plan
on doing that, and in fact, my closest friend Steve is he's 6'3", and he's probably carrying an extra 40 or 50 pounds, and I'm always concerned about his being overweight, and he knows that he's got issues and takes different kinds of prescription drugs for different things. And so I actually bought a second book and brought it to his house yesterday and talked to him and his wife about it. And he's already on board, and he's going to start making food. And I go to his cottage probably once every 2 months. Just the boys kind of go up, and he's actually embracing it. And he said, I'm going to make you these foods, and I want to see if I can reduce my weight and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. Well, I love that. We always talk about surrounding yourself with people who are going to support these new habits. So that's really neat that you have enrolled him, Alan, and he can be at least one of your partners in crime, if you will, with eating this way.
Yeah, I agree. And he's a big spokesperson in terms of his personality type, and he'll tell everybody, and he'll start making everybody else around him do it as well. So if I can get him converted, and I had a sidebar conversation with his wife, who's pretty fit, and I just said, like, you got to get on board too if you can, if you let yourself. And she said, I'll do anything to get him to lose 40 pounds. Like, I'm desperate because I'm way more fit, and it really bothers me that he's 53 years old and he's allowed himself to get this way. So.
Well, so cool that you're standing for him, Alan, to get the result that he wants to, and so great that you can have him around you. So I'm looking forward to hearing what recipes you guys cook at this cottage you go to.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it, and I'll let people know for sure. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really cool. So increased energy for you, 11 pounds down. So we hit the 10-pound mark, and I'm thinking, have you set a new goal for yourself of what you want to get to within the next week?
I'm hoping to lose another 10, and the reason I say that is because I really didn't lose much off my gut and my sides. I lost a tiny bit, but I lost mostly on the inside or a layer of the outside. Who knows? But and you and I had gone back and forth, and you said that's kind of the fat that's surrounding my organs inside, and because I'm pre-diabetic, getting rid of this, I guess it's visceral fat, is really important for the pre-diabetes stuff. And then I'm now thinking, okay, the second half will start showing up on the rest of me, and I'm already starting to see that, which is pretty cool. But I thought 10 pounds would do it, but 10 pounds didn't even touch the outside of, like, the belly part of me. So we'll see how it goes.
So this is the home stretch, and the next 10, which are hopefully going to come from the belly area.
Alan,
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when I lost my weight, my first goal was like 185. And I got to 185, and then it was 175. And I got to 175, and then it was the under 170. And under 170 was a little light. I figured on my face and stuff. And so I'm between 175 and 170 somewhere. And but your initial, you might want to lose more as you get into it or do another round, whatever the case may be. Because it was definitely nice to go past and then bring it back a little bit, where I felt I looked a bit. I looked a little better, at least for the, with a few pounds more than the 170. But because I was creeping up sort of yearly and that. So you might want to look at it, reevaluate when you're done your round here, and then see where you're at, and potentially do another one. Now, did you do a 3-week or 6-week?
I did a 3-week because I started at 177 and I got down to 166 this morning.
Oh, okay.
And then, so I'm already, like, I was convinced I just needed to lose 10, and then Erica said maybe 15, and now I'm thinking maybe 20. And so I'm definitely going to take another 5 off for sure, but I might go 10 and then do exactly what you said and climb up, a few pounds and then stay steady at 160. But
you'll find where the comfort zone is, you know what I mean? And when you look in the mirror and you look, I'm not going to say unhealthy, but for lack of a better term, when you look too skinny, I guess.
I look forward to that moment because I haven't had it in a very, very long time. I actually weigh less than I did the day I got married 25 years ago, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm down to my 30 weight. And Eric,
nice.
I don't see my dad in the mirror anymore.
Good.
Like I want to get there, and I haven't got there yet, but I actually have been facing a bit of an obstacle because now my wife, my daughter, and my son are like, you've lost enough. We can see a little bit of progress. You look healthy. And I'm going, I know what my body wants. That's what I want. And I need to get rid of all of the fat for the pre-diabetes stuff and reset. And then I can rebuild a bit. And it's kind of like a psychological thing for me to attain this goal. And I look at it and say, okay, then at least I've shed this stuff, and I can give myself a fairer shake when I move forward on these ailments that plague me here and there.
Yeah. One thing though, that people will look at you. I've had people that it's taken them weeks to come up and ask me because they thought I was sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
50 pounds in 6 weeks, and I'm proud to tell them that. It's like, but you need to do it in your eyes. As long as you,
yep.
Chances are you don't have eating issues, or where you want to be way too skinny, but you need to do it for what you think, and then just tell everyone to trust you and just let you do your thing. You know what I mean? There's lots of people, lots of women that have lost over 30 pounds you know, in a session, and you know, and I lost 50, and you'll find your balance afterwards. But try not to, because people say stuff because they're worried about you and they don't know, or you know what I mean,
Or jealous.
jealous,
Or jealous.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, and like I said, some, you know, in my case, I had people that didn't ask me for a while, and then I had ladies at the bank come up to me, and they all came up to the one teller. They all came up and were asking me, because I think I might have mentioned to one on sort of how I did, and they must have been talking, but they thought I was sick. You know what I mean? And that's initially when people lose a pile of weight. That's what people think. They think you got cancer or whatever. You know what I mean? And that, and when you tell them you feel unfucking believable, you know what I mean? And your energy's great and everything. It's like, it's pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
And the
I'm
thing-
hoping I get the sick conversation at the end of next week or beginning of the week after, because it's not happening yet, but I'm feeling it's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
Well, if you don't see people for a long time, then they'll wonder what the heck happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
No,
And,
it's such a good
the other
point.
thing I wanted to bring up was in the book Weight Loss Apocalypse, it talks about you know, because we're balancing our hormones, and it's not even so much that number on the scale, and maybe Erica could go into more of the science of this, but the distribution of fat and going to where it belongs, as opposed to the belly, you know, like sort of for us women going into our hips and breasts and butt, as opposed to, you know, our face, bellies. And it's really interesting, because it was talking about, you know, even people that didn't really have a lot of like it wasn't a number on a scale, it was more of a body shape, that even doing this protocol, their scale number stayed the same, but their body shape completely changed to a more natural, you know, attractive, for lack of a better word. But
Yeah, it's so true. There's a case study of a woman that went into this one doctor's office, and she had this, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it's like a lymphatic condition where you store all this fat around your hips. He's like, he thought she looked totally normal weight because she was sitting across from him at the desk, but so he's like, she must be, you know, anorexic or something. Like, why does she want to go on a diet program? But then she stood up, and he saw how like morbidly overweight her hip and buttocks and thighs were because of this issue. And they put her on the diet, and like Shannon said, she didn't lose a single pound, but she lost that girth around her hips, and she actually looked like a normal woman, like a normal hourglass shape after that. So that's pretty cool too. So yeah, you might be experiencing some of that, Alan, stuff shifting away from the organs, away from the inside of the stomach, and more towards better, safer areas too. But I mean, yeah, I'm so glad you're down 11, and I would definitely like to see you come down 5 in the next week. My aching suspicion is you'll probably lose the other 9 to hit the 20 mark within the next 2 weeks at the most. That's what I would expect to see with everything. Even when you're on maintenance and like you're bringing your calories up a bit, you should still be losing.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd like to look at myself in the mirror and say, you're skinny for the first time in a long time.
I love it. Yes, your day is coming. More than anything, we want you to look sexy and strong, right?
Right. And then I'm going to start lifting weights a little bit and do like a little fun thing on, you know, trying to do that part of it. But I'm not taking that too seriously. It's more like if I feel like doing it, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. So great. And I wanted to say I know Emily joined us too. So I don't know if you guys are in the same household right now, but she just jumped on the line too not long ago. And I want to say welcome to Suzanne. I don't know I think Suzanne is the 8824 number. Is that right?
Yep, it is.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the call, Suzanne.
Oh, no problem.
So just so everybody knows, Suzanne, we've got 3 new people on the line today. We've got Suzanne, Lisa, and Cheryl. So that's excellent. Who are we missing? There was a 4th person that joined this week. Jane. We don't have Jane. But yeah, I just wanted to say for Suzanne, just so you know, you're welcome to participate. You're welcome to just listen. You're welcome to ask questions. And it's kind of like a optional hop on, hop off call. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, that's totally cool. But do you have any questions so far? Because I know you just started on Monday.
Just started. Can't wait to get going though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We're all excited for you.
Yeah, good.
Bye, everybody.
Chris is.
I'm going out to work in the shop.
He's so matter of fact. Going out to work in the shop.
Mhm.
All right. I'm just sorry. I don't know whose sound is coming from their phones. So I'm just muting the phones. I think you press *6 or *9 to unmute yourself. Yeah. Does anybody else have some questions that they want to ask tonight? I hope I didn't mute you guys and you don't know it here. I'll unmute. Does anybody else have any questions?
I have a question, Erica.
Yeah, is that Emily?
Yeah. I tried, for everybody who's using the chat, if you click on participants at the bottom, there's actually a feature where you could raise your hand. I tried using it. I don't know if you can see it though, Erica.
No.
It's in I'll send maybe a screenshot or something in the Facebook group.
Yes, please.
They when I do the online tutorials for my school and stuff, I was curious to see if they had it because it's cool, kind of, so we're not interrupting each other, I guess. But anyways, my question was, so when I used to work at the vegan cafe, this was in regard to Chris's comment and my dad's comment about how they're feeling colder. Could it also be because when I worked at this vegan cafe, a couple of the girls were raw vegans, and they said that it's, in terms of eating, they're generally really cold. And I was curious if maybe it's because they're not, how much kind of them eating cooked food kind of has to do with it. Is that a how much from the physiology of it, how much is actually being transferred in terms of the heat into your body? Because maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking, Chris and my dad were both talking about how they're eating more raw foods. Is that something kind of to expect?
Yeah, you nailed it. So in traditional Chinese medicine or Asian medicine, they look at, and a lot of cultures in the East look at foods that are warming and foods that are cooling. And definitely raw food is very cold on the body, and it's quite hard to digest. So from an Asian medicine point of view, for most North Americans, we have poor digestion. So we actually stay away from overdoing the raw until you've built up a really resilient digestive capacity. Anyways, it's okay to have some raw for sure, as long as it's not giving you gas or discomfort. But yeah, you nailed it, Emily. It's that rawness, in their belief, gives you that coldness to the body. So, and definitely when you're I worked with a lot of fertility patients in the past to balance their hormones out. And from that perspective, we always avoid raw foods when you're trying to conceive because you need the uterus and the organs to be warm. That's a huge premise in Chinese medicine, which is, it's about 5,000 years old. It's not something that we per se have evidence around. I'm not even sure how they would study that, but it's something that they've observed culturally. So it's a really good point. And it's funny because last weekend, my boyfriend was sick and his grandmother was like, oh, you can't have this. It's a cold food. You need to have this. It's a warming food. The warming is usually ginger and cinnamon and allspice and those things. And cooling is dairy products and sugar and that sort of thing. Saffron is warming. So she made him a saffron tea. So yeah, you nailed it. There is that element of raw versus cooked. And then the flavor too.
I was just curious, just because everyone was talking about how it was emphasized kind of on the raw. So because a lot of the girls that I used to work with, maybe 2 or 3 were hardcore vegans and they only ate raw. And they said that it's just 2 of them stopped. And then they said that it's just it's hard to kind of in the winter time, just doing normal everyday things and going out to the car and coming back, it's just it's too much. So yeah, there's a huge impact. I did go raw vegan way back in the day for a couple of months, and I found I was really cold and really constipated too. I felt nothing was digesting.
So I definitely think that could be part of why your dad and Chris are feeling cold. There's something else I wanted to say with respect to that. I forget what it was. Oh, I was going to say it's really cool. There's, God, I can't remember his name. There's an author who's an anthropologist who's like studying the development of humans. There's a theory called expensive tissue theory, and he's kind of behind that. But he's saying that since humans started cooking their foods, their stomachs began to shrink and their palates began to shrink. Like if you look at a gorilla's mouth, a gorilla eats about 50 kilograms of raw produce or vegetation a day. They have a very huge like oral cavity, whereas ours has gotten a lot smaller, and they think it's because we've been eating cooked food for so long. So when you look at it from his book and his studies, he's basically supporting that our digestive tract is really not well equipped to do an all raw diet. For sure, some elements, but all raw, he was like trying to make the case that our stomach is not big enough for the amount of produce it would take to get all your nutrients, and your mouth is not designed for it. So I thought that was kind of an interesting take on things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add that Chris hasn't been eating raw. Like he's everything, all his vegetables, everything has been like either steamed or cooked. But the one thing he did do, and which he just kind of sparked my interest here, is because he's introduced a bit of dairy a bit early, and he's noticing some discomfort. So I wonder if the dairy, which now he's taken that out to give his a few days to heal, and then he's going to try again. But we did get some goat's milk for him to put in his coffee or tea. But yeah, I'm wondering if that's a dairy reaction too. But and the other thing about raw is, my daughter follows the Walls protocol, and like they just a little bit of raw is okay, but for the most part, her vegetables should be at least steamed or warmed up, and it's just more healing for, leaky gut and stuff like that.
Yeah, you nailed it. Check Chris's tongue. So when he sticks his tongue out tomorrow morning after he wakes up, if you see scalloping on the sides of the tongue from where his teeth marks are, or if you see any kind of thick white coating or thick yellow coating, those are signs that the dairy is causing a reaction for him.
Okay, I'll be with the flashlight in his mouth in the morning.
Yeah. Let me see your tongue. Yeah, Talia made a good point. She's saying if you're feeling cold or weak, try having more red meat because iron is a heat conductor. And Talia, do you want to share with us about that, or like what your experience has been with that, if you've had that?
Okay, so a lot of the time with like cold hands and feet are either like a drop in thyroid function or like a drop in iron, so like lower iron, because iron is a conductor, so it helps just increase our circulation and circulation of heat throughout our bodies. So I don't know if I don't think it can drop that quickly doing a 40-day protocol, which is like kind of lower amounts of like meat intake, because we're only getting 2 servings if you're on the low calorie. But if you increase your red meat, so try and have a like steak more often and see if that helps, because even just having that in the food, because it's got warming properties as well, and more spices. Throw cayenne into everything.
Yeah, right, more heating, more warming spices. I picture like a chai tea would be a really, really good idea. That's awesome. And have you had any experience with feeling colder on the protocol?
Me? No, actually, so I was kind of stupid about my first vial. Like, I think I wrote about this in the group where I dilute it. So I was going to do just a 3-week protocol. And so I wanted to, I don't know what I was thinking. I think they send you a 10 milliliter bottle of the B12, but you only need to put 5 into the HCG. So I think I injected like all of the 10. And so my shots were really weak for the first few weeks. And so I was hungry. But once I got it right, and I was like hungry and cold. And once I got it right, then that went away. Like, it was fine. But there was a moment where I was like, I remember like being a lot less hungry the first round when I was on HCG.
I know.
Yeah.
So that makes sense now. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember you saying the first 2 weeks you were quite hungry.
Yeah, and I'm injecting about 150, so like still a lower amount, and that's like totally fine. But yeah, it could be, I don't know if it's a dose thing, but like it should, like if people are feeling weak and hungry, yeah, maybe just trying like more red meat and stuff that's really like nutrient dense and more sort of conducting spices, warming spices. But on protocol, no, like I took my temperature and it went up. And then if I have a lot of warming drinks, it goes up. But if I feel sort of like, you know, like when my dose was low and I felt like I wasn't getting enough like thyroid stimulation, which HCG does stimulate the thyroid, like it should kind of keep thyroid activity high. But when I feel like my dose was too low, I felt cold.
Yeah. And I'm almost wondering the connection of exercise too, because some people will stop exercising while they're on this part of it. And that too, like I noticed I haven't worked out for a week and my basal temperature has gone down like 0.30 degrees, which is a lot. I don't feel as hot as I normally do. So it could be that adding to the mix too. And just for the new people on the call, just so you know, Dr. Talia is a naturopathic doctor, so she kind of shares with us. She's a resident emotional eating expert. So she's really focused in Chinese medicine and mental health and hormones as well. Yeah, those are all really good points, Talia. Like have more red meat, have more spices, have more of those like conductive spices in the body, and maybe movement, I'm thinking. That would be good.
Lots of warm drinks. Like I'm drinking something hot right now and it's like I feel hot. So
It's really helpful for that. And how's your journey going? You're on round 2 of things now, so you're losing more weight.
It was crazy. Like I looked at, so I record every morning in MyFitnessPal, or not MyFitnessPal, and my Fitbit has an app, and like it's better to just have it all in one place. And like it's so weird. Like losses are definitely slower this round, and I had a lot less to lose. And I think a lot of that had to do with my week doses. So once I got those under control, like I'm not hungry, and so I can follow the protocol a lot better. But like I'll have these kind of days where I stall, and then it will drop. But it's so frustrating because it'll be perfect, and then it'll like be the same, and then it'll go up a little bit, and I'm like, what? And then, you know, so I had a day, you know, and I perfectly, and it went up about 0.4, which is why like it's a good thing to keep in mind too, because like it'll just randomly go up. Like it doesn't mean necessarily you're doing something wrong, you know. And then I got this kind of like wave of fatigue in the morning, which I usually never have. And I was just talking to my friend about that, and he was like, "Are you constipated?" Like, because it was kind of like a brain foggy fatigue. It was in the morning, and I never get that in the morning. Like I'm usually pretty like at high energy in the early part of the day. And I was like, yeah, like actually, because like you're eating such little food that you forget that you haven't pooed in like 3 days. So I took like, okay, so I went and bought magnesium oxide, and I took 1.5 grams, and nothing happened. And so I was like, okay, so I took this giant tablespoon of magnesium citrate of the Natural Calm, and then nothing happened. So I took another giant tablespoon. Then I woke up at 4 a.m, took another 1 gram of magnesium oxide. And I woke up this morning and just like had this giant poop and lost 2 pounds.
Oh my God, Talia.
And I was like, yes. It was like all water. But
well, I was gonna say, when you go up in weight, that's probably just your body holding on to water, because you can't be putting on fat, right, with decreasing the calories. So you're probably actually finally evacuating all that extra water.
Yeah, and I feel good now. I'm good. It's like I still, like, you know, there's still like I'm gonna keep going with this with the mag citrate, but yeah, like it felt good to just clean it all out.
It does. It feels good when you feel like there's nothing left behind.
Yeah, because it's like I don't want to have to deal with like I don't have to enter in poo weight into my Fitbit tracker. Be accountable for that. Like it's not me. I want that. I want to be my real just bones and muscle and fat weight and water, not poo.
I'm not counting you, poo.
Yeah, like I want. Yeah, like I like try so hard to poo before I weigh myself. Like I'll like I have my like squatty potty. I'm like ready, and if it's not happening, I'm like, oh fine, okay, just weigh myself. not take it that seriously.
Oh,
Shannon and Patty are dying over there.
I'm like, I'm always excited when Talia's on protocol because her story fills in.
Yeah, like it's,
You can join the Stark Women, Talia. It
yeah.
takes less than 10 minutes anytime we're together for that to come up
Yeah, exactly.
in some form or another.
Yeah. So like 8 grams of magnesium.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. I don't even think I can legally prescribe 8 grams to anyone.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was like thinking that. I'm like, I do things to my own body that I would never recommend. But it's like going to the frontiers and being like, you know, you can survive. And my shoulders are very relaxed.
Because you've had so much magnesium.
I don't know about my kidneys, but my shoulders feel good.
Oh, that's hilarious, Talia. So yes, if you guys are needing to go poop and it's been a couple of days, let us know. We have strategies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking to Shannon about that recently too. I intend to up the magnesium tonight because I think that's a little bit of an issue with me right now too. It's not all coming.
Yeah. You know what? And I talk about this in, I think it's module 2, where I talk about the that tea. It's got a funny name. It's like super slim dieters tea. It's like the worst name in the world, but you get it from Chinese supermarkets. And really all it is the herb senna. And senna is known for being a laxative, and it's quite a powerful laxative. So I'll go to my local Chinese grocery store and I'll buy the super slimming tea. And I don't necessarily recommend it to everyone because it can cause like quite painful intestinal contractions. But oh my God, like when I had to go sometimes, especially in the past, I've had parasites before and I would be constipated from that. It is such an effective herb at cleaning you out. It's probably not as gentle as magnesium, but Talia, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but that might be an option if you're ODing on the magnesium at some point.
Yeah, like,
not everyone reacts to it, I find. Like my mother-in-law will drink it after it's been steeped for 20 minutes and she's like, oh yeah, I had a like normal bowel movement. I was like, I would be on the floor with cramps if I steeped it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, like magnesium is it's an it just like magnesium oxide doesn't get absorbed that well, and so it draws water into the bowels, which just kind of like flushes you out, but it doesn't, at least for me, doesn't cause cramping because like I just wasn't that, like it's just, I'm not full enough for it to actually like cramp. So it was like pretty painless. Like it felt like a normal poo, just really watery. And then it was over. Like it wasn't like you're having diarrhea all day long.
Oh, that's really good.
It was okay. Like it doesn't cause cramping, whereas I know like over the counter stuff will like cause smooth muscle contractions to like actually out. But if there's nothing to really expel because you're eating like handfuls of food a day, it might just cause cramping and not a lot of poop.
Yeah, that's really true. Marianne saying, what a cutie, Dr. Talia, about your dog. Coco. He's so cute.
Coco. He was crying, so I had to bring him into the action. Yeah.
So cute. Cool. And how's your energy going this time around?
Me?
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. Once I pooed and got my dose proper, like right, then it's been really good actually. Yeah.
Good.
It's been good.
Good.
Yeah. It's like
how
this is everything really. Like it. Yeah. And I'm taking less than the 200. Like 150 is good for me. So. That's also something too. Like sometimes you can take it down as you get closer to your goal. But I actually had a question because I asked this on the thing. So because my dose was so diluted, it lasted me like the first vial lasted a month, and so I have I think I just started this new vial. Like it's been 3 days or something. And I have about 5 pounds till goal, but I don't know. I may how would I know if I'm becoming resistant to it? Like, will I start to get hungry and stop losing? Or okay. So then, as long as that's not happening, going, and then and then just do my wash whenever I want?
Yeah, you know what? Like I haven't seen anyone become like actually resistant to it, but I've seen people that can go on it for like 8 weeks straight, which I don't recommend, but there are people that do. It's more so when you get down to being a low body fat, like 20%, that 20 to 22%, that range, your body starts to be like, okay, I want more calories now. And it's really clear. Like you'll know the day of, you're like, today's the day I need to start upping my calories because I burnt off all my body fat.
Okay. And then I can just cease injections and go, okay. Yeah. Cause definitely I like that. And so when I was stalling for a while before my, like the poo of 2017, I thought that it was like I was just being resistant to it. Like I wasn't hungry, but I was like, it's just not like, it's like not coming off. And then it was just constipation. So we'll see tomorrow if it's still coming down. But
okay, so 5 away from goal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 5.6.
And you said this is the lowest you've been in your adult life? Is that what you're saying?
Now it's like I've never been this low. And it's so funny because I think I posted this as well. Like I had I got an email from me a year ago that I wrote. So like there's this, like a psychotherapist I was working with recommended this website where you write letters to yourself, and they get sent to you in the future. It can be like 80 years into the future or a year or a week. Like, so it's really cool. You can even write to yourself at the end of protocol if you want. Like if you know your date when you'll be done, you can like do that. And so that's cool. And so I got the letter that I sent myself last year, and it was like the first thing I wrote about was like a weight loss goal, right? And how I think I at the time was like 145, 150, and I had a different scale. So it probably translates to like 150, 155. And like I was just struggling so hard to get past that because, and even like when I'm off HCG, it's really difficult for me to lose weight. Like I'll start noticing hair loss and I'll be tired and like all of that stuff will sort of happen. And it's not, and I've asked myself like during those moments, like, well, maybe I'm, it's not realistic for me to come down. Like maybe I'm at a healthy body fat percentage already, but I don't think that's the case because there's still weight to lose. Like I'm, and so this is, like the lightest I've been as an adult. It's crazy.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
And I feel good. Like I feel like I look in the mirror and I don't feel, like, and sometimes people lose weight and their body fat's too low and it looks like wrong. Like I feel like just myself. Like I feel like I like a version of myself without an extra layer, and that's like really cool too. So.
Yeah. I felt like I peeled off a layer, like a fat suit. Like, granted, it was only like 25 pounds. It was not massive, but it still was a noticeable difference. I was like, I peeled off this like inauthentic layer that didn't feel right for me. And I just felt like I could move. I was like, oh, I feel so free. I took that layer off and I can move and bend in a different way and do yoga in different ways.
Yeah, like I'll look at myself in the mirror and be like, I'm the same. Like, but then I'll be like wearing a size 4 pants or size 6 or something. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm smaller, but I'm the same body shape. So it's just like a layer came off. Like it's good. Yeah.
That's so good. What size were you to start with of clothing?
I was a size, like an all around. So in the things I was a size 8 in, now I'm a size like 4 or 6. And then some things I was a size 10 in. Like it depends on the clothing brand, but it was at least a full size. Like, so I'm wearing size 6 jeans and they fit comfortably. And I was like kind of squeezing out of an 8 when I first started. So the stretch jeans, there's like, I don't know how many pounds in there that you can still fit into them.
That's so great. Okay, so you're down your lowest weight in your adult life, and you're down from a 10 or an 8 to like a 6 or a 4. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That's like half the size.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. I just want to say it's almost 8 o'clock. I just want to see if Talia, if you have any other questions, or if anybody else on the line has any questions that they want to ask.
Actually, okay.
Yeah. Is that Lisa?
Yeah, it's me, right? Just wondering, would you get better results if doing your injections rotate around all the different parts of the body where you have fat? It's better than just concentrating on the stomach area, for instance.
Sorry, can you hold on 1 second, Lisa? You're ending in 90. Sorry, are you ending in 9021?
That's right.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute everybody else because there's some kind of noise I'm hearing.
Okay.
And I can't. Okay, sorry. So you're saying if you want to focus on losing weight in the tummy area, what were you saying in reference to that?
I know. Is it better that you rotate where you put the needles in? Does it make any difference that I say go from one thigh to the other thigh, to my stomach, to my back, wherever I have excess fat that I want to get rid of? Does that work better when losing overall inches when you rotate the needle site around, or does it not matter and you can just choose one spot and use that the whole time, like that area, the whole time that you're doing your injections?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So what the research currently says is that it does not make a difference. However, clinically, what we've seen is that, and when I speak to other doctors, what they've seen too is sometimes it does seem to play a role. Like I know Dr. Talia you tried injecting it into your thighs, and that actually reduced your hunger at one point, right? 'Cause she's got more fat in her thigh, and she had kept injecting into her stomach. So it's definitely something I would try. Like it is recommended to rotate sites just to not irritate your skin or your body. Yeah, and just so you know, for
that's
people
fine.
who aren't yet, and just for people who haven't started yet, we do a nutrient combination that you can take either via oral drops or via injection. It's just better to do via injection because it bypasses digestion. And we know that doing intravenous nutrient therapy is the best, or intramuscular. So that's kind of following along these lines.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So yeah, I would rotate it if you can, Lisa, but focus on the areas that are bothersome to you to start, like focus on tummy. And even if you want to keep doing tummy, I would do like left side today, right side tomorrow, or like above the belly button today, below the belly button tomorrow, just so you're not overdoing the same area of capillaries.
Sure. Okay. Good.
Yeah, Talia, like remind me, is that something that you saw? Did you notice a perceptible difference when you started to alter the location?
Yeah, well, I was still struggling because the dose is too diluted. So I was like experimenting, but I didn't really figure it out. I don't know why. Like I was kind of like, maybe if I have fiber, and just try different injection sites. Like, but yeah, so I was injecting into my stomach just because it's like I wake up in the morning, like grab my stomach, inject, and then make coffee. So it's just like easier there. And then, but the thing is, and so this is just my body type, is like I tend to carry less fat in my stomach, and so there's always sort of like but there's like a big distribution. So I think I had my body fat tested, and my thighs were like at one point like 30% fat, and my stomach was 15. So it was like a huge range, and so I was wondering if my body or my sort of like my like hormone signaling was perceiving the percentage of body fat in my stomach as that in my entire body. Like, and that's why I was sort of like refusing to access fat stores in the thighs where there's lots of fat to like use. So I just tried it, but I feel like injecting into fat is better anyways, because it feels like it's easier and it's kind of satisfying. It's easier to grab it, and it.
Yeah.
You said it.
It does. You got more padding to work with.
So like I kind of injected into the abnormal fat, but I injected into my inner thighs, and that I felt like maybe it was perception, but I felt like it made a difference in stomach. But then I started doing stomach again because I'm like, but actually, I rotate all over, thigh, stomach. I've never tried my arms, but that might, it's just too hard.
Yeah, you could probably get somebody else to kind of do it for you, hold a pinch of skin, and yeah, exactly. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head with respect to thighs. I was looking at a paper on the estrogen signaling, and the way that women's bodies do it is they put fat in the thigh, and the way that you burn off fat, there's like a little flag on the different areas where your body's about to burn up fat, and like the signal or the flag on thigh fat is one of the last to go, because that's your breastfeeding fat if you're fertile and could get pregnant. Your body's like, we're not touching this fat at all. We're going to keep it in your bum and thighs, and you're not allowed to use it even if you fast or don't eat. because it's preparing you to give birth. It's all about, it's really, really cool when you look at the physiology of it, but it's just the way that it's designed. It's literally one of the last areas to go on a fertile female. It's really interesting. But it's kind of one of those things we fight against.
You can access it with green tea extract, like ECGC, or what's it called? EGCG.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
the
right.
mushroom, one of the mushrooms, it might
Is
be
it reishi?
Coriolis.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so if you do, so that's something to try, is because apparently those two things kind of take the flags off or put the flags on or something, and allows you to progesterone, making sure you have enough progesterone.
So cool.
Yeah.
Such neat stuff. Okay, well, yeah, so hopefully that kind of, does that answer your question, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Any other questions for us tonight?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say I'm just under 46 pounds gone.
Oh my God, Patty, congratulations.
I know.
Whoa.
I feel so good. I can't even articulate how good I feel.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know, that's wild. And I'm in my second week of maintenance, and I'm still losing. Although I held my first day to fats was Tuesday. And so the next day, and also I reintroduced fruit. So the next day I went up about, I don't know if it was a pound or so, and I was okay with that, but then I dropped right down again, and then again today. So I was, and I'm getting excited about the second round.
That's so good. I know, and you're starting again shortly after Shannon, right? So you guys will kind of be paralleling a little bit.
Well, in May, I start the 5th of May back again. But yeah, and I have not been hungry one time. I had, like, I think I mentioned on the call the other night, or the other afternoon, I had a couple of days in the supermarket where I was kind of angry or hangry, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I want it all. I want to comfort myself with the food, but I don't want the end result. So it's kind of like a short-term good feeling for a long-term crappy feeling. So I'm going with
I know. It's like both ways, right? Like if you indulge, it's the short-term crappy for the long-term.
Yeah.
It's the short-term good for the long-term crappy, but then if you stave off of it, you're going to have that long-term awesome result that you want.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what was going on there, but anyway, I felt it and moved on, talked to Shannon about it, and then moved on. So hasn't happened again.
Are you on 5-HTP, Patty?
No.
Okay.
I was on Wellbutrin after my chemo. I didn't realize it, but I was really going down the bog of eternal stench, with the.
Did you just reference Labyrinth with David Bowie?
I did.
That's amazing. I love that movie.
And so anyway, after that, I ended up, I think a couple of years, it went on for about 8 months. And finally I said to my doctor, I'm just feeling awful. Like there was no joy. And then he said, well, how long has it been going on? I said, well, but a few months now. It turned out 8 months. So we tried something called Wellbutrin, which is weight neutral. So I tried that, and I was really unhappy because I had this real stigma around taking any kind of medication because I just didn't like the concept of it. And I felt somewhat like if I had to take something like that, maybe there was something wrong with me. It was kind of a really crazy thinking thing. But anyway, I ended up taking it, and then I went off it a few months later, proper come down off it. And then I thought, well, I'm going to try the medication or the drug that you just mentioned, the herb, and it did nothing for me. So
5-HTP?
Yeah. So after a few months, I said to my doctor, yeah, things aren't good again. And that was about 2 years ago. And so, well, a little more than 2 years ago now. So anyway, he said, well, yeah, but you shouldn't have come off it in the wintertime, I went, yeah, but, I was fine. But then after that, he said, stay on it for a year or so. And then I was on that and came off, and I came off last early last fall, and I've just been feeling great ever since. And then now with this, it's like manna. So anyway.
Yeah, and you're challenging yourself too, because you're choosing to overcome emotional eating, right? And you're really like looking that in the face and saying, I'm not going to give in to you anymore. And I think that might be like, I almost wonder if you unknowingly were self-medicating with food, and that was kind of replacing the effects of the Wellbutrin in the past. You know what I mean?
There's no surprise there, Eric. I was absolutely doing that. And I was because it was a coping mechanism for me. And that's when I think last fall is when I started to really overeat again. That Christmas time, I was totally out of control. And so now it's just a function of it's not about willpower or any of that crazy stuff. It's more, I realize, is more about a discipline and making good choice. And trying and just keep saying, are you hungry? Asking myself that same question, are you hungry? Yes or no? And then go from there. And mostly it's no.
It's so powerful and it's so unbelievable. Like, I catch myself to this day, Patty, and I'm like about to eat lunch, and I ask myself, am I actually hungry for lunch, or am I just eating it just because it's lunchtime? And a lot of times I'm not, and I could actually go to like 3 o'clock, and I have this weird schedule that I don't eat on normal, 12 o'clock noon lunch, but I'm okay with it. My body loves that. But I feel like I so get what you're saying, because a lot of us just eat just to eat, or just because we think we need to eat at that time. We're not actually hungry, and that's what causes that subsidious weight gain over time. Yeah, such a good point. Okay, so you've done 5-HTP before, you said, and you didn't notice any results with it, is what you said.
I was seeing a naturopath in Huntsville, and she recommended it, and it did nothing for me. So
okay,
that's
what
my experience then.
You know what I want to send you, Patty, and I can send it through Shannon maybe. It's called the Braverman questionnaire, and it actually is a pretty well clinically based questionnaire to detect neurotransmitter imbalances. So yours might not necessarily be serotonin, which is the 5-HTP precursor. Yours might be more of a dopamine thing going on. And if we can just make sure. Yeah, right? Especially with any kind of food cravings like that. So we could even look at how to support you nutrient-wise, and especially food choice-wise, to build up the nutrients that make dopamine. So I'm going to send that to Shannon tonight for you to do. And Shannon, you can do it too for fun if you want.
Yeah. Really good. Like I have a therapist for my cancer issues, and she's also a medical doctor. And so we talk about the dopamine issues and that immediate gratification. And it's really fascinating stuff. So anyway.
Talia, in the chat box, Talia is saying that Wellbutrin works on dopamine and norepinephrine, so maybe tyrosine would be helpful. Yeah, we could definitely look at tyrosine. That's one of the top ones for dopamine. Tyrosine's an amino acid, a part of protein. So for sure, tyrosine. Oh, I just want to ask while I remember it, Shannon, did Chris start the amino acids? Forgot the name of it.
That you said?
Did Chris start the amino acid for his blood pressure?
The arginine?
Yeah, arginine.
Arginine, yeah. He started it, and then he went and saw Dr. Matt, and then Matt put it into his schedule. So he's all
perfect.
Yeah, he's all good.
Where's his blood pressure trending at now?
He hasn't taken it in a few days, but at the end of his protocol, he had gotten down to like 144 over like a 98.
Wow.
And,
okay.
And then he got sick, right? He got that virus, and then it kind of went back up to stage 1, or I guess that's stage 1. Anyway, it went higher in the same stage, and then he's hasn't done it since. So hopefully he'll be doing it. Because he was more about the weight loss. I was more about the hypertension, right? So it's getting him to take his pressure again. But yeah, he saw Dr. Matt yesterday, and I said, can you incorporate this into the schedule? So he gave him dosing, like, I think it was 2 twice a day with the other stuff he was doing.
The arginine, yes. It should be a total of 6 a day, I believe.
Yeah, I'll have to look. It might be that. I know it's like 2 his schedule, right? So I try not to be mommy too much.
I know, right? Okay, I'm looking at his blood pressure chart, and yeah, it does look, I see what you're saying. It came down as low as like 145 over 97. That's really good. Lowest we've seen it yet, right? Okay.
Yeah, and he's also, so he's on his new remedies, and then, we're going on vacation, and then when we come back, he's going for the upper cervical treatment to make sure there isn't any blockages, right, causing that extra pressure. And also Dr. Matt put him on 2 different remedies, one that's your remedy he added in that opens up the veins, right? And then he has another one in conjunction to relax the veins, so open and relax.
Good.
Yeah,
okay,
so
good.
hopefully, and then with Dr. Bales and the upper cervical, we'll just sort of hit it from different angles, because obviously he's gone from stage 3, should be hospitalized, to, pre, or just on the line of pre in stage 1. And then, he's at a good weight. He hasn't incorporated working out yet. So once he starts doing that, hopefully we'll see some changes, and with his remedies, and then the upper cervical. So we'll get it down there.
Yeah. So the kitchen sink at it, right?
Exactly. But the thing is, I can go to sleep at night and not be afraid that I'm going to wake up to more than just cold fingers and toes, if you know what I'm saying.
Gosh. And I was going to say, yeah, I'm looking at the bottle right now. It's 3 caps 3 times a day for Chris.
Okay,
cool. Okay, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to see it's under 100. I know Talia just said she had to go because she has to take Coco for a walk. Okay, cool. And we did just lose a couple of people. I was going to say, no, that's great. That's great about Chris. I'm so happy that that's coming down. Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to send you the Braverman questionnaire for you and your mom. Do we have any other questions this evening before we hop off the line? Okay. All right. Well, I think we're good to wrap up. We just have a few people still here with us, about 7 of us now. So yes, if anyone on the line has any questions, for the new people that haven't been invited to Slack yet, or sorry, everyone's been invited to Slack, but if you're not there yet, please hop on and join your channel, and we can support you there with any kind of private questions that you have. If you have more group-related questions, or you're cool with other people seeing your questions, please post them to the Facebook group over tonight and the weekends, and we'll support you through that. I am about to go pack and hop on a plane to Florida, so I will be in Florida in less than 12 hours, and I'll be speaking to you ladies while getting my vitamin D dosage, so I'm happy about that.
Have a great time.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing evening. It's such a pleasure and an honor to serve you guys. And please stay connected and let us know any questions you have going into the weekend. Otherwise, we'll meet again on Tuesday.
Okay, bye.
Great. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.